point would have been enough. A draw was enough for Aston Villa to get Champions League football yesterday at Old Trafford, and they were robbed. The opportunity to get that draw was taken away from them by an absolute shocking decision by the referee. His job is to implement the laws of football during that game, and he failed to do that the minute he blew that whistle. He should have let that play out, and there was no reason not to. There was no player injured on the deck. All he had to do was let the play continue for about 3 seconds to see if Rodgers scored or not, blow up, give the free kick, we go to VAR, and we find out if it is actually a free kick or the goal should stand. 37 games. Aston Villa played 37 games to put themselves in a position where they had an opportunity to get Champions League football. And they needed a favour from someone else, but they got that favour. Everton went to St James's Park and beat them, which meant Villa only needed a point at Old Trafford. That goal would have put them a goal up. They might not have went on to win the game. They didn't have to. They only needed to draw the game. They might have went on to lose. I don't think they would have done. But that's not the point. The point is they should have had an opportunity to hang on for 3. They were robbed by that referee at Old Trafford. It's unforgivable, and there's no justifying it whatsoever. A game of that magnitude, the referee has to get everything spot on. If the referee makes an error in Ipswich against West Ham, Liverpool against Crystal Palace, it's not the end of the world. You can get over it and move on. But when there's so much riding on this, 100 million plus riding on this game and other games around them in the Premier League, the referee has to get everything right. And the referee failed, and it wasn't even a difficult decision. And I think that's the thing I struggle with the most. It wasn't even a call where you look at it and go, okay, I get why he's done that. I don't. Had Rodgers slid in and clattered into the keeper and he's rolling around on the deck, sure, I get that because of the safety of the player and also because the keeper can't get up and get back and, try and deny the goal. I get it. But that never happened. Rodgers didn't make contact with the keeper. There was no reason to blow up. Now, obviously, had we checked it and thought, oh, it would have been a free kick. Again, the referee gets away with it. It's still the wrong decision, but he gets away with it. It's a goal. As far as I'm concerned, I strongly believe that it's a goal. Bender is not in control of the ball. He puts his hands on it, he drops it, goes to put his hands back on it again. Rodgers nicks in, he gets it perfectly, puts it into the back of the net. It should be 1-0 Aston Villa. They should now have the opportunity to defend 3 points. And they didn't get that. I don't know what the consequences are. I don't know what Aston Villa do here. I know they've made a complaint, but that's not enough, is it? That's not going to justify anything. So what are they going to get? An apology. An apology for the refereeing body. Oh, sorry, we got that one wrong. That's not enough. Everyone knows the financial situation at Villa Park going into this summer. They needed Champions League football. The consequences for that football club now are significant. And it comes down to that refereeing decision. And yes, there's probably been refereeing decisions over the other 37 games that have been incorrect. And Villa would have benefited from some. They benefited a few years ago from Hawkeye not working. But at this point, that's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. It doesn't matter anymore. It's done. It's dealt with. The consequences were huge in that game. That doesn't make it right. But 2 wrongs don't make it right. Villa were robbed. Now, the red card, he got absolutely right. I thought Emi Martinez should have been sent off. I think to suggest that Torres was covering is a bit of a stretch because it's a clear goal-scoring opportunity. He's rounded him. He's on his favourite foot. And when you watch Martinez eyeball Højlund and run at him and tense up, he knows full well it's not a coming together. It's not he can't get out of the way collision. He went barging into him. As far as I'm concerned, that was a stonewall red card. And at that point, I thought, well done, referee, because that's a big call to make, and you've got it right. I think Martinez, it was a stupid decision from him. It's a bad back pass from Cash, don't get me wrong. But I think Martinez should have gambled. He should have just got out the way, or turned around and started running back. But he should have got out the way and let Højlund take a shot. Because that's a striker who didn't have much confidence, not in great form, quite wide, quite far out. He should be scoring, but I'd have almost challenged him. Martinez should have got out of the way and said, go on, man. And good luck, because Torres is on his way back as well. So if you take a couple of touches, there's a defender on the line then. Correct decision. but just the complete wrong decision with massive consequences, and good ones for Newcastle, obviously, but bad ones for Aston Villa. Elsewhere, it finished 1-0 Everton. That Alcaraz, I do like him, actually. I do think, I've been surprised he's not played more games under David Moyes, because whenever I've seen him play, he has impressed me. But another goal, and it's just unlucky in the sense of Newcastle United. Dan Burns slips, gives Alcaraz a free header, a great header though. Now, it's quite difficult to discuss all of these games, being honest with you, because I watched the Ipswich West Ham one, and then I had the Man United Aston Villa one on in the background as well. And I watched the highlights from these, but I think it's fair to say the highlights fly through the games, so it doesn't show the context, because obviously, because I know what happened in the Man United game and the West Ham game, then when I seen the highlights, I thought, well, that's not really everything, is it? You're missing out loads here. They didn't show you, like, Mason Mount's 2 chances, for example. And I get it, because there's 10 games, they've got to condense it. So it can be a bit misleading. So I'm not going to judge the game itself, other than just the big talking points from it. But there wasn't that many across the league yesterday, I don't think. I think there was obviously a few dead rubbers. And then the biggest one coming at Old Trafford. But a good win for Everton, a bad defeat for Newcastle, and maybe got away with it a little bit. I think they got away with it. I think when they left St James's Park buzzing that they've got Champions League football, and so they should. It's not their fault what happened at Old Trafford. I'd imagine when they watched what happened in the Villa game, they might have thought, "Oof, maybe got away with one there." But congratulations to Newcastle. Moving on to the City Ground, Nottingham Forest against Chelsea. Chris Wood scores them earlier on in the season. A couple of big chances for Chris Wood in that game. And I think if we go back to the months where he was, I would really say, in his purple patch, that's unfair, because he's been really good for most of the season. It's been greater than a purple patch. But if you go back to when he was scoring every single week, he gets those chances. I think at least one of them hit the back of the net. I think it was maybe just a striker not quite on the top of his game anymore, but a big, big win for Chelsea in that one. And as a neutral, when it came through that Chelsea took the lead, it was a bit but a hugely successful season for Nottingham Forest nonetheless, and an important win for Chelsea going into Wednesday night. Bad news though, that is bad news for Brighton, because it means that 8th won't get Conference League football next season either. So that was a bad result for Nottingham Forest, a bad result for, well, as I say, Aston Villa, but they lost anyway. But it was also a bad result for Brighton. They're possibly, them and Forest are the ones that miss out from this game. Manchester City appeared to cruise to a 2-0 win against Fulham. Lovely goal, though, by Gundogan, weren't it? That was a nice overhead kick goal. Where's that come from? Then Jimenez nearly scored one as well. But I think it's been a really poor ending to what had been a good season for Fulham. I think it still is a good season. I think sometimes we can all, whether it's about your team or someone else's team, I think we can all fall into the trap of looking at the last few months, whether it's a player's performance, a team's performance. So because Fulham have been out of form for a little while, it's easy to think, well, they've not been great. But actually, over the 38 games, I think it's been a really solid season for them. And I think you can do that with player performances as well. I think there's been a few players really stepped up towards the end of the season. You think, wow, they've had a good season. Well, they've had a good second half to the season. And likewise, as players, I've had a good 2/3, but the last third's not been great. So you think, they've been all right. Actually, no, they've had a good season. It just came earlier on. But a good win for Man City, an important one as well. They had to make sure they got Champions League football. A really big summer for them coming up. I think there's going to be a lot of changes at the Etihad. And you don't write them off. You do not write them off for next season, do you? I don't think anyone's brave enough to say they won't win the title. Well, someone might. One of you might be brave enough to say, I don't think they'll win the title next season. I think it's way, way too early to call anything. Liverpool doing impressive business, but until the season kicks off and you've seen teams with majority of their transfer business conducted, that's when you'll start to get a feeling as to who's going to perform and who's going to struggle. But at this point, I think it's fair to expect big changes at Manchester City. And I do wonder what they've got up their sleeve, because they were strongly linked to the likes of Wirtz and decided not to go for him by the sounds of it. That's a big call. Letting Liverpool almost have a one-horse race to go get him, that's big. That's a big, big call. So you must have something. You must have a player that you want instead. Anyway, going off at a tangent here, back to yesterday's football. Spurs 1, Brighton 4. Good win for Brighton. Who cares when it comes to the Spurs? thing. I've seen Ange Postecoglou's interview after the game, buzzing that they got beat. He wasn't arsed, they got beaten, so they should. Listen, don't let people... I have absolutely no reason to back up Spurs, right? None whatsoever. I didn't want them to win it, and actually I hated the fact they won it, right? But I am going to defend Spurs for the next 20 seconds. Don't let anyone bring you down. You're a Spurs fan. Enjoy it. Love it. And Postecoglou's doing the right thing. Don't pay attention. When people are trying to talk about a bad defeat against Brighton, who cares? He should not care. They're in the Champions League. Yes, they finished 17th. Who cares? I can promise you, in 5 years' time, they won't remember they finished 17th. They might do, but you know what I mean. But they will remember that they won the Europa League. They've had a better season than most teams in the Premier League because they've won a trophy. That's what it's about. That's what it should be about. And if we're going to start suggesting that teams that didn't win a trophy has done better than those that have, then I don't know. I think we're going to have to agree to disagree and move on. But a big win for Brighton. They look like they were enjoying it. A couple of nice goals for Hinshelwood. And I'm not sure about not letting him take the pen, by the way. I appreciate that they needed to finish 8th. So they need to, but they were already winning against a team that couldn't be arsed. Two goals, get a pen late on in the game. I think you should be giving that ball to Hinshelwood. Personally, I think O'Reilly should be letting Hinshelwood take that one. Now, obviously, if he missed, it would look a bit silly, but I think they win the game anyway. Don't know, there should be... I feel like it's an unwritten rule sometimes. In a game that's meaningless, or that is you're definitely going to win, there's a guy on a hat-trick, let him take it. It feels like an unofficial rule, doesn't it? So I was surprised that when I seen the scores and the scorers coming through, I assumed he was off the pitch at that point, but he wasn't. And fantastic goal by Gomez, though. Absolute banger. Someone that's not really had that big an impact on their season, I don't think. But fantastic season by Brighton. They can be excited for the summer going into next year. At the Molineux, Wolves 1, Brentford 1. We got the banger. Banger of the day from Munetsi. Goal kick. Boom. Sa hasn't been taking his goal kicks for a while. I don't know what the reasoning behind that is. Is he injured? Did he just crap at them? I don't know. But long ball up, flicked on by Larson. An absolute screamer by Munetsi. If you've not seen it, go watch it. I love these kind of goals. Just not the whole Route 1 thing. It's effective and it's fun, but just the way he just puts his laces through it. And it's one of those goals the keeper ain't saving it. Like Marmouche against Bournemouth. You ain't saving it. The keeper is just not saving it. There's nothing you can do about it. The strike is that good. Boom. Another goal for Mbomo, of course. Bournemouth won 2-0. Semenyo at the double against Leicester. That's all I can say, really. The highlights literally showed 2 goals, and that was it. Liverpool 1, Palace 1. Now, the interesting thing from this game wasn't necessarily the goals. Obviously, Salah equaling record as well. An outstanding achievement, and he left it late, but Oliver Glasner's comments. If you haven't seen what Glasner said after the game, go have a look. I love it. That guy is just winner, isn't he? He's just a winner. Let me paraphrase it for you. He basically said, I came up to Liverpool yesterday, and there was no player that wanted to play. They should have told me. I would have left him back in London. And he just felt like there was a lot of players that were playing for Palace, didn't want to play. They didn't put a shift in, and he wasn't happy about it. No, just won the FA Cup, had a week-long piss-up, gone to Liverpool, 2 guards of honours, 1 for each team, and it felt like an end-of-season friendly, and he is not happy about it. And it's hard to... We're all going to assume Eze went off early. Esse came on and got subbed off again, so I can only assume he's referring to someone like Esse, which I would understand. I think Eze's got a pass, right? Incredible form at the end of the season, gets the goal in the FA Cup final and all that. Esse, however, 2 different players, EZE, then ESSE, the player they signed from Millwall. They signed him from Millwall, didn't they? He's been, a bit part player, right? He's waiting for his opportunity, gets one, and gets hooked off again. I can understand if Glasner thought that guy should be out there running his heart out, but I just love the comments from him. Absolutely love it. If I'm a Palace fan, I'm buzzing off the back of those. I'm thinking maybe it's not the end of the world that players didn't put a shift in, but just for your manager to have that mentality, it's reassuring. It is reassuring that the standards are up here and we don't drop them. Whereas Postecoglou and even Arne Slot, they're willing. Arne Slot last few weeks, I don't think he's bothered. Postecoglou's not bothered, but Glasner's just... He's got something... He's one of my favourite managers in the league. I said it. I'm biased, though, because I would have liked him at West Ham before he went to Palace, but I do like him. It finished 3-1 to my team. We won a game. We finished 14th. 3 really good goals in the match, though. A screamer from Bowen, a really good goal from Broadhead, and a really good goal from Mohamed Kudus as well. 3 fantastic individual strikes. I don't think it was the best quality game. Many disagree, but it's not going to change my mind. I think it was a poor quality game, separated with 3 really great individual goals and moments within the match. It was nice to get the win, though. It feels good to get the win. When Potter came in, we were 14th. We finished 14th. I think that's good for him. I think that's important for him, actually. So while we won, I think Potter won yesterday as well. Pleased the season's finished. Pleased to get the win. 2 wins in the last 3 games against Man United and Ipswich has just secured, well, about 12 million more, actually. We were 17th a few weeks ago. We finished up in 14, so it's worth 12 million to the club, which is a significant amount of money. And then at Southampton, it finished 2-1 Arsenal. I'll be honest with you, I thought it was 1-1. I thought it finished 1-1. Watched the highlights, watched Kieran Tierney score. That's nice. Watched the guy with the best nickname in football score, Loch Ness Drogba. Love it. What a fantastic nickname that is for Ross Stewart. He scored, first goal for Southampton. Bang. Nice story. And I thought that was it. Then Odegaard banged one in. I thought, oh, why have they ruled this out? They hadn't. It counted. They won 2-1. I genuinely thought their game finished 1-1. That's what I get for not scrolling down on the classified results. That's what it was called, weren't it? Back in the days of final score in the pools and stuff like that. The classified results. Southampton 1, Arsenal 2. Well, don't know why I'm speaking like I'm doing a nature programme, but there you go. Good goal by Odegaard, but it was nice. There was a few nice stories yesterday because we've come to the end now where a lot of people are departing and a lot of people they've been, fans' favourite for one reason or another, like Kieran Tierney. There's people that are leaving who are cult heroes, like Alan Cresswell at my club. And then at Leicester, you've got a legend of Jamie Vardy departing as well. There's a lot of people saying farewell yesterday, and there was a lot of nice stories in the matches, and I think that's important. I think VAR's spoilt the game a bit for me. Maybe I'll do a video about that over the summer, but I appreciate it'll just come across as me moaning about VAR. But it's a thing, I don't like it. I don't like it. In fact, I really dislike it. I don't think it's working. Look at Aston Villa. The biggest game of the season for Aston Villa. The biggest goal of the season for Aston Villa. It couldn't even be reviewed by VAR because of an error by the referee. Now, I appreciate that's on the referee, but VAR was meant to... pardon me. VAR was meant to remove controversy. It was meant to make the game fairer. It hasn't done that at Old Trafford. It's added more controversy. It's made the game more unfair because you could accept human nature. We didn't like it, but we hated errors by referees. We hated the obvious ones, and there was a belief that referees favoured certain clubs in the league. VAR was meant to remove favouritism. It was meant to remove the grey area of the game, if you like. But it's not done that. It's failed. It failed. The referee failed at Old Trafford. And if it was a human error, eventually you'd be able to stomach it. Because I think you could understand, by the way, when you watch that in real time, you can understand why the referee thinks it's a free kick. I understand why, watching that, he thought, keeper had it in his hands, that's a free kick. I get it. That's not my frustration. It's not anger. That's not my anger here. My frustration is he should have let it play out and then go to VAR and just double check. But he didn't. And yes, you could say that is human error. But is it? Well, yeah, but it's also incompetency. It's favouritism to one of the clubs that was receiving favouritism before VAR. So has it really changed things? Sometimes maybe. But other times, like yesterday at Old Trafford, I think the favouritism still exists. Just sometimes it's done with a computer screen now.